Kingdom of Boxing. It's that time again. Let's check out Terence Crawford versus Billy Joe Saunders. Who's pound for pound number one? Let's start with Terence Crawford. He's 33-0, 24 knockouts. He's 30 years old. He's 5'8". And let's check his resume. Obviously just bums, yeah. Nobody's. Who's this undefeated fighter? Andrew. There's nobody, man. Let's see who's this guy. Don't look very good to me, this. Wow. So after the Terence Crawford loss, fought a few bums, and then lost to an undefeated fighter, lost to another undefeated fighter, Liam Welsh, then lost to another undefeated fighter, and then got a win over another bum. So, you know, this win's nothing. It's nothing. After that, Ricky Burns. I know Ricky Burns well. He's a terrible boxer. I hate him. He's British, but I hate him. I call him Ricky Bums. That's what he is. After Ricky Burns, he fought Gamboa, who's undefeated. But this is nothing to be bragging about, really and truly. Let's see. Look, firstly, Gamboa, 36 years old. He's a featherweight. You see? He's a super featherweight here, but he belongs at featherweight and below that. He shouldn't be fighting somebody like Terence Crawford. He's 5'5" with a 65 reach. I mean, yo, honestly, my little sister is bigger than him. My little sister is taller than him. My little sister's 5'7". And what happened after the Terence Crawford loss? Beat a bum, nobody, then lost to a bum. Look, who's 23-12, Gamboa. Come back and he's having a go. He's beat Jason Sosa 10-round majority decision, but he's having a go. But look at these guys. These guys are fighting at featherweight and all that. These guys aren't never going to be fighting up at welterweight. These guys are tiny. This is not a good win for this is not a good win for Terence Crawford. After that, he fought a bum, Thomas Doolum. Who's this? 21-1. I've never heard of him. He's now 24-3. Let's have a look. So he lost to Luis Carlos, and then he lost to Terence Crawford, who was 25-0 at the time. Then he beat a bum, and then he lost to a bum, 19-3. Again, not a good win. Not a great win. Not pound for pound level. Why I'm saying this is because also I forgot to mention this in my video, that you can beat somebody today, and that win, depending on how that person goes on in his career from after your win can either go up in status or down in status. I'll give you an example, like Mayweather beat Canelo Alvarez when he was pretty young, and after Mayweather beat Canelo went on, as he keeps going on to beat good fighters, beating fighters, and every time Canelo goes on to beat a decent fighter, a good fighter, that makes Mayweather's win look better. Mayweather's win still getting better to this day. Until Canelo stops fighting, then Mayweather's career stops. Mayweather's career doesn't stop until everybody he's fought has left the game. So you can decide a whole package. This is also why I looked at yesterday Vasily Lomachenko's resume, and he hasn't even got enough resume to put him into a pound for pound #1 position. He hasn't even got the work to get a pound for pound #1 resume. You need to have the work, the body, the proof, the fact, everything behind it, substance behind everything. And anyway, let me carry on. So this is what I'm saying to you. This is why I'm looking into their resumes, what they went on and did after Terence Crawford beat him. Because if these guys, like on Lomachenko's record, everybody he beat, they're on the way out. Rigondeaux, he's not fought since. Nicholas Walters, not fought since. A few other guys haven't fought since. So them records are flat, dead. If Rigondeaux comes back and goes on to do some good wins in the record, that will boost Lomachenko's win and things like that. And this is the issue I have with also Terence Crawford's resume. Yes, he's got wins against nobodies really. Look, they're all nobodies, man. Who are these people? Only name I recognise is Victor Postal. He was undefeated, 28-0. But I don't class this guy as a great fighter, He's a Ukrainian. He fights like typical Ukrainian. And what did he do after Terence Crawford beat him? He went on and fought somebody I don't know who was undefeated. Fair enough. Beat him, who was 14-0. But then his very next fight fought Josh Taylor the other day. Josh Taylor is only 12-0. And he beat Victor Postal. So this puts a stain on Terence Crawford's win. Terence Crawford was 28-0 and been pro for so long when he fought Victor Postal. And this looks like his best win on his resume. And Josh Taylor, who's 12-0, just come in black and did the exact same thing to the guy. It's also, how long's Victor Postal going to be around? He's 34 years old now. He's pretty much done. So, once again, not a great win. John Molina, this guy is terrible. I hate this guy. I could knock this guy out with a jab. This guy cannot box. I don't know how he keeps getting these fights. I'm sure he was fighting Danny Garcia and everyone. This guy's terrible. Anyway, Felix Diaz. This guy was a very small guy. I remember this fight. Felix Diaz. After Terence Crawford, he fought Francesco Santana and lost. So this is another stain on Terence Crawford's win. Before that, he also lost to Lamar Peterson, who was 33-3. This is a welterweight though. I'm pretty sure he looks smaller. And then Julius Ndongo, who we don't know much about, who was undefeated at the time. But being honest, we don't know much about this guy. We know he's old, 35 years old. He's from Africa, and he beat Ricky Burns, who's nobody to me. I told you already, Ricky Bums. He's rubbish. Absolutely terrible. I hate him. I wish he'd go away from boxing and stop stinking out British boxing. We don't need people like him. Or just go, I don't know. So after he beat Ricky Burns, lost to Terence Crawford, and then after he lost to Terence Crawford, Regis Progress comes and knocks him out in 2 rounds. So once again, a stain on Terence Crawford's win. Terence Crawford's only recently stepped up. He hasn't got enough body of work either. You need to give people like these people who he's beaten a chance to go on and do something in their career, but they all seem to be going out, they're all losing, after they've lost to Terence Crawford. So if anybody's seen, I've taken a long time on this. Anybody seen my video yesterday? It's the same. And Jeff Horn, we don't know too much about him. He beat Manny Pacquiao, who was well past his prime. And before that, he had a draw with a bum over here. And he got dropped by a 41-year-old over here somewhere. He nearly got knocked out by Manny Pacquiao, who's well past his prime. And then he fought Terence Crawford and lost. So, and after, maybe Jeff Horn will go on and beat people like Amir Khan, Errol Spence, and Terence Crawford, Keith Thurman, and then them wins will start putting Terence Crawford's resume up in the rankings. At the moment, that's nowhere near good enough for me when I compare it to someone like Billy Joe Saunders, who's been a pro just as long, had 20 fights, and has beaten Nick Blackwell, who was a very tough fighter, Gary O'Sullivan, who was undefeated. And what did Gary O'Sullivan do after he lost to Billy Joe Saunders? Did he just go on to lose to loads of bums or anything like that? No, look, he beat win. He beating these bums. Then he lost to Chris Eubank Jr., where there's no shame in that. And after he's beating these guys, knocking these guys out, he won the middleweight title in America when he knocked out Antonio Douglas, and then Berlin, whatever his name is, knocked him out in 3 rounds. So all this body of work, gives Billy Joe Saunders' win even more status. High up here. This guy's a solid guy who he took his L, and it wasn't a guy who was going out of the game. It's a guy who's on the up and coming. John Ryder, another guy who was on the up and coming, undefeated fighter straight after he beat Spike O'Sullivan. Let's have a look what he's gone on to do, if it'll let me. Oh, where is it? What's it doing, man? So John Ryder, what happened after Billy Joe Saunders took his L? He beat a few bums, beat some bums, got his name back up there. Lost to Nick Blackwell. That's no shame in that. Nick Blackwell, very tough guy. Got a few more wins. Lost to Jack Armsfield. I'm not sure who that is. Then he's got another win. Locked to Rocky Fielding. I recognise him for the British super middleweight title. That's not a bad one. But then he's gone on to beat Patrick Nelson and Jamie Cox, who was at super middleweight, and he fought for the world title. He fought George Groves, who was in the Super 6 series. So that's a solid win. Jamie Cox, who's 25-1. So this guy's gone on to do good things. This guy wasn't a guy on the way out. This guy was a solid guy. Emmanuel, I don't know how to say this guy's name. But he was an undefeated fighter, 22-0. Now he's 27-3. And so obviously after the Billy Joe Saunders fight, look, he wasn't on the way out. He's had a win. He's had a loss to Michael Soro. Then he's had a win. Then he's had a loss. But at least this guy wasn't on the way out. This guy is still fighting. Look how many fights he's had. And he's 27-3. That's respectable. Very respectable. 27-3. So after you beat another undefeated fighter, you got to do go and beat another undefeated fighter. One of the British best prospects, would say, who was also on the up and coming, undefeated. Billy Joe Saunders fought him, and Billy Joe Saunders wasn't even taking boxing serious at these times. You know, he's fat, out of shape, hardly trained, just going out fucking girls. You know, banging guys out, just doing all the doing all the shit like everyone does, and not training. Probably trained a little bit and that, but you know, when you're drinking and doing drugs and all that, it's mad. He wasn't taking boxing seriously, and this is the difference. He didn't have to take boxing seriously, and he'll still beat most of these guys. So anyway, he beat. Yeah, Chris Eubank lost to Billy Joe Saunders. After that, come back and beat an undefeated Chodunov. He's come back and got wins, beat Nick Blackwell, that's a good win. Undefeated Tom Duran, that's a good win. Reynold Quinlan, who was 11-1 for the IBO title, that's a good win. Arthur Abraham, who's a big name who's also a super middleweight, that's a good win. Alvium Deodorant, whatever his name was, who was 16-0, the Turkish guy in the Super 6 series, knocked him out as a good win, and then lost to George Groves, who's a super middleweight world champion, who basically gave Carl Froch his best fights of his life, you know. There's no shame in that. And all these guys he beat are at super middleweight. And Billy Joe Saunders is only a middleweight. So all these guys that are not only not on the way out, but guys, or they're at least the same size as Billy Joe Saunders. And we're not even got halfway through his resume, man. Also, he's got Andy Lee, who's a solid fighter. Arthur Abraham, who's a solid fighter, who's going on to do good things since they lost to Billy Joe Saunders. Also, William Monroe Jr., who's a stick southpaw, give a lot of fighter trouble. He lost to like Golovkin. And David Lemieux, who's got mad power, who's knocking out people like Curtis Stevens, Glenn Tapia, Gabriel Rosotto. He's got a lot of good names, and look, we've not gave him enough time after Billy Joe Saunders fight, but let's see what he goes on to do. And if he goes on to knock out some more guys, that will make Billy Joe Saunders' win look even better. But not only that, Billy Joe Saunders' performance against this guy was a pound-for-pound #1 performance. Like Lomachenko's performance against whatever his name was, Linares, was not a pound-for-pound #1 performance. When you're getting put on your ass, that's not a pound-for-pound #1 performance. Terence Crawford, on the other hand, versus Jeff Horn, that was a pound-for-pound performance. Not a pound-for-pound #1 performance, but it's pretty much a pound-for-pound #1 performance. But his resume doesn't match up for all the rest. He needs to do a lot more. He needs to get more wins on his record. He needs to get names like Terence Crawford needs to get names like Amir Khan, Errol Spence, Keith Thurman, Sean Porter. He needs to get them names on his record before he can even come near Billy Joe Saunders. I've got to say it, man. I give Billy Joe Saunders is still younger. He's 2 years younger, and he's gangster. He smashed it. I'm telling you, his record is probably the best resume you can find on BoxRec right now. So come and bring it to me. Let's see what you got, man. Kingdom of Boxing. I'm gone.